Hello, everybody. Welcome to Golden Shower Sunday stream. It is the 16th of April. I know all my watchers are anti-tax and didn't file their taxes, of course, but if everyone did file their taxes, that's good too. I'm joined today by Hex, of course, my co-host.
What up? What up?
And today our guest is Hannah Goodman, who is the new chair of the Libertarian Party of Colorado. So hi, Hannah.
Hi, thanks for bringing me on.
I know. I'm like, now that I'm like more involved, I'm like, I gotta get all you guys on too. So that's all good. So do you want to like introduce yourself a little bit? You're kind of like a little, you can put a little of your history into because you've been involved for a while. So.
Yes. So I came in to libertarianism when my grandfather rejected helping me with some vaccine legislation in 2018. And he challenged me. He was county commissioner at the time, and he challenged me that if I could do his job better than him, then I was sure welcome to do it. And so I said, well, hold my hat, cowboy. I'm coming for it. So that is what I signed up to do. And I was like, well, I'm not a Republican. I'm sure not a Democrat. And that's okay if people are. I'm just not those things. So I dove into some Ayn Rand, and then I discovered the Libertarian Party, and I just hit that full throttle. I signed up, got really active, took over my county, helped take over the party multiple times. And now I've been elected chairman of the party. I previously served as the vice chairman of the party for 2 years. So my term just ended, and I've started this one this month.
Yeah, we voted you in just 2 weekends ago, basically.
Yeah, for better or for worse, we're doing it.
That was a great convention. How would you, okay, so being vice chair and stuff, just so you can give this idea to people, because people don't realize this, how many hours of volunteer work would you say, the vice chair position, and now you're going to be in this other position, but how many hours would you say you did for the last 2 years? Because you were vice chair for 2 years, right?
Yes. Yeah. So a lot. It is like a full-time job. I don't know how people do this. So in my day life, well, I'm the chairman, but I am a home educator. So I homeschool all 4 of my children. I serve on numerous boards and committees locally. And then the vice chairman ended up being like a full-time job. I'm not kidding. Like the amount of hours that I dedicated, it could vary, but easily it's 20 to 30 to 40 hours a week, depending on time of year and what we have going on. Around elections, pedal to the metal. Around conventions, pedal to the metal. You're pulling a lot of hours, organizing people, finding people for jobs, helping people with jobs, jumping in on committee meetings, jumping in here, jumping in there. So it is a lot. I didn't realize how much chairman does, because that was one of the least familiar positions for me. As vice chairman, we go through and we assist and we know the job of all the directors. It's hard to do that for the chairman as the vice chairman. Technically, I could have gone in and gone over the chairman job with him, but that wasn't really like a relationship that I really had with the former chairman. I really more saw him as above me, not so much equal. So vice chair, I spent a lot of time and energy, and then now with chairman, but at least I'm not going to be doing multiple jobs. I'm just going to be doing chairman. So I'm thinking maybe that's a break.
Well, and you have and Alicio is the vice chair, and I know he's amazing. So you guys are going to be working great together.
Yes. And my main goal was to find somebody that would be better than me at vice chair. And we got it. Alicio is kicking ass.
Yeah. I even noticed even with the outreach, he was kicking ass. And then when everything worked out, we were going to bring Kirsten in too. And I was like, it's perfect for her to do outreach, which I'll have everybody on eventually too. So everyone can meet. Like, I love our Colorado crew. Like, we're so like, I don't know how to explain it, but I hate when people are oh, Libertarian Party needs to do this, needs to do this. And I'm like, okay, listen, bitch. First of all, just to run the party and keep it a legal party in good standing with the state takes a ridiculous amount of man hours. Like I'm not on the official board, but I watch what you guys are doing and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, like it's just so much work. And then, so that's one layer just to keep the party functioning, right? You have one layer of people who are doing it's full-time jobs. Then you need like layers of volunteers. Some are more activists. Some can do this. Like it's just we need so many people. And I get so frustrated when people are like, "Well, the Libertarian Party should be doing this," and it's like, "Well, they fucking would if we had all the help we could," you know. Like,
I'm always like, so then you're volunteering. Can I put you down for volunteering on this project?
right.
And I don't want to have to chase you down either. Like,
we just have like I know, like you mentioned before, when you're a vice chair. So anytime anyone can't do their board position anymore, and then you had to like find someone to do it, and it's just that's again finding someone who's not even just going to be like a part-time volunteer, someone who's going to volunteer that much work. So
yes. And I mean, so some of the directors they do the bulk of the work, but for instance, campaigns is really only super active during campaigns. And then they have like breaks where they can take some time off, or the legislative sessions only X amount of months. You know what I mean? And they can provide support for other directors and other small projects. So fortunately, our directors, like their work is spread out. I think they could be like, you're full of shit. That's not right. I think that they do have more opportunity to have sort of breaks. Whereas when you're high, like the vice chair and chairman, I just don't think we get to take breaks. I never took a break. I never had a day off as vice chairman. Yesterday was my first day off since being elected, and weeks before that, like my first Saturday in months to myself. So that was amazing. And I'm blessed that I have such a flexible schedule where I can really pump a lot of my energy and focus it into the job. I can't imagine having my own like massive business. I have a little small side hustle, but like if I did what my husband does for work and then had to be the chairman, I don't know how that works. I don't know how people can do that.
I don't know either. Even like now I'm like, God, if I had a regular job, there's no way I could do this. Like
you were like, I don't have a regular job. I have lots of time. I'm like, great.
I know, yeah. Because when you were when I was first getting on, which I should have gotten more involved earlier, but everything is everything takes the time and the purpose, and we were all like connected, and I did help some stuff, but then like the end of last year, I was like, okay, you want to do state organizer, and then it's so funny the catalyst of stuff that happened because I was like when I went to that Tabor event and Brandon was going to speak for the Colorado LP, but then he was like, you should do it. And I'm like, I'm a terrible speaker, right? But I'm like, that was a catalyst for craziness. And I have to really think like just that little bit getting involved, because that's how I got connected with a bunch of people. And I started going to all the affiliate meetings and stuff. And it's just funny how it all just like blew up, culminated and blew up. So.
It snowballs. It just takes you by surprise. Like, but I think it's so much fun though. At the same time, I'm having a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, I always like your attitude. You always have a great attitude about it. And I'm having fun too. I don't want to be on the board positions or anything, obviously, but like it is fun. Like it is, and the way everything that's happened over the last 3 years, just like it's just made it be like this is what we have to do right now. Like, and I've said a million times, I don't believe in the political process. I don't think it'll actually work out, but we have this avenue. So why not put some of our energy towards this to try? And look, like me just running for local office freaked them out. So it's like there is something to it still, right? Like there's something still to it.
Yes, if anything, it just gets the ideas out there, and people have to be exposed to, and people get really uncomfortable, like on all sides of the spectrum. They get really uncomfortable when you speak outside of their narratives. They're like, and then that spreads like wildfire, because eventually you meet people who are like, oh, that's hilarious, or, that's based or whatever. So it's super important.
Yeah, and we're just kicking ass out here. Like whether it was, I mean, it was unintentional, but like I've told this. Like Jacob was telling me the week before, no one else has filed yet. It looks like you could probably win. And I knew all the like couple groups out here and stuff, and I was like, oh. And then literally, but obviously that's what needs to happen, and that's our whole thing is this pushing local. They like it just proof like, and obviously Colorado, we're the best LP anyways, right? But it's like we were proving it that like something is happening out here because I don't know if it's the politics of this being so blue and everywhere else kind of not or what, but it is volatile out here right now.
Yeah, it is. And, it's crazy right now how things are. I mean, where you are, it's volatile all the way out where I am. So, because I'm so much further away. I mean, for people that aren't in Colorado and they're more like on the East Coast or something, like the areas are smaller, right? Like, my kid's godfather lives in Connecticut, but he's like 30 minutes from Massachusetts. He drives state to state to state to state, all out there, right? Right. Everything's in driving distance. Here, it's massive stretches of nothing and then cities, right? And culturally, the Front Range is a lot different than rural Colorado, but no matter where you're at in Colorado, it's exploding, right? It's exploding here. Like, parents are fighting school boards. Like, I'm organizing all that. They have no idea what hit them. I'm like, actually, I'm very good at organizing. Let me help you all out and teach you how this works. And the board's like, what? They have no idea. But it has been so volatile. The entire eastern side of Colorado is watching just Phillips County school board issue. And that's one issue out of so many that's just like, exploding in the population. It's crazy what we have going on out here.
It is nuts. I'm loving it. Now that I'm involved, I'm like, all right, I get it. Although I need the breaks too. I was like, like you said yesterday, it's like sometimes you have to like, I can't even look at the chat sometimes because it's nuts. Hex, there isn't really a great Ohio LP, right? I mean, I know you're not involved, but like they're not out there much, right?
Yeah, they're borderline don't exist out here.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's what's sad. It's like we need like the state affiliates to at least start because there's so many people who want to run local stuff and whatnot, and it's like they have nowhere to turn. They have no help, and they're not right or left. And I don't know how we get because there's always, I think Ohio had, of course, Loser Brigade stuff going on and whatnot, but like
yes.
Oh, hey TT in the chat. Yeah, it's just
hey, what up?
That's what's always sad about. That's another thing too. Like, okay, so you're running the actual party, and then you have people who supposedly are within the party trying to take the party down on top of like everything.
Like
else.
Literally, these people are like, "Oh, the Mises Caucus is gonna nuke the party. They're gonna burn it to the ground." But all I've seen is those people trying to burn the party to the ground. Like I was named in an article about being a white supremacist. Yeah. Like, first of all, that's not what I am. That's crazy. Like, those people exist, but I'm not it, right? Like, let's call the people that are that, and like, let's not take away from the severity of like those ideas. Like, those ideas should be, of course, rejected in society, but proper labels are super, super important, right? It's absolutely crazy that the people, even here in Colorado, are trying to like nuke the party from underneath me. And I'm like, former chairs took a lot more bullshit and played into the game a little bit. But here's the thing. I can move 1,000-pound, livestock. I'm not with my 2 fingers. Okay. I am not taking shit off anyone ever for any reason at any time ever. So these people don't understand that the buck actually does stop here. And I've dealt with just a small few weeks, several members have written and tried to push back against me, and I just gave it to them real straight. Look, I'm not here to be your authority. I have a lot of things going on in my life. If you want to be helpful, let me know. Otherwise, don't bother me. Like, just don't. So
I do not understand when we were in a time when the government did what it did, and like it has been doing what it's done, but it was so apparent it is so easy to see the real enemy that they're doing what they're doing. Like there doesn't need to be specifics, but yeah, like there was this article where basically it said everybody who's running the Colorado LP is a white supremacist. And then they're like, no, I didn't say that. And it's like, yes, you did. It's quoted in an article. And it's so sad as we see what the media has been doing to me too, that they would even give ear to that. Like when they had the media's ear, that they would do this instead of going after the government or something, like it's just
Yes.
so
Like,
sad.
fight a real enemy. Like, I'm not your enemy. Like, what I want for the party to grow it isn't the enemy. The enemy is literally the state, and it kills me. I hate the whole, well, you're not a real libertarian argument, right? And I understand where that comes from, but people who are trying to nuke the party and not actually focus on the issues that we're here to fight don't really sound like real libertarians. Because like things are getting really bad. Inflation's crushing us, right? Our foreign policy killing us and people across the world, right? Like people are losing their lives because of our government interference in their lives, and they're dying for real, not going to come back. All these things, like we're still recovering from the lockdowns, and the governor here in Colorado, it's still like, I think it's still a state of emergency here, isn't it?
I think it went up when the federal one just went up now. I think it was supposed to let up since now the federal one is up. I think it was like on the 11th or something. So I think it's over now. But
geez, it's been like how many years? 3 years later? We're still like, the IRS is expanding their agency by like 30 to 40,000 new agents. Like the dollar is not been, well, I could say that the dollar has never had value, but anyway, it certainly has zero and less than, it's like negative buying power at this point. There's just so many things that really affect people, but you still have the loser brigade walking around saying, irrelevant things. Meanwhile, we're trying to take down the state. Like,
yeah. And like, I'm sorry, but the proof's in the pudding. Like, the growth has been happening over the last couple of years for our party, especially in Colorado, and we're showing up, we're doing stuff, we're going to the legislate. Like, how could that? They go to the news, but they won't go to the legislate, or to say anything against that. Or they won't.
Because they love the state. Because they love it. Because they want to use the state against us, right? Because that's a real libertarian perspective for you. I'm so libertarian, I'm going to call the state on a fellow libertarian. Like, what?
It's so goofy. It is like, and it's just a power thing. They just want to have some power or something. And the sad part is we all have been open to work with them no matter what, until this. It's just like, I don't know what you do, but hopefully they're just ignoring them more and they're going away. Hopefully. I kind of was like, hopefully what happened with me kind of pushed somebody to be like, I know it made her more mad, him or her more mad probably, but like, it's like, just fuck off, bitch. Like, you're not helping. We're doing stuff. So bye. Like,
I've been so impressed by our presence at the Capitol. Like, our activism is through the roof. I haven't seen this party so active since I've been around. And like, honestly, being around since 2018 is not that long of a time, but there was not a ton going on before that. Like, I can think of one guy that was the legislative director. He would go to the Capitol by himself, and he would put out like calls to action, like sometimes during the legislative session, like call your reps and tell them to vote no or tell them to vote yes. But it was just him going there and creating like a vote, like a guide to contact your legislators. And I do think that is actually important. We should probably do that a little bit more. But the fact that people are going and testifying in committee, like I wish I lived near the Capitol. Like every time I see the Capitol, I'm like, I'm going to be there someday. I'm going to be in there. I'm going to be a legislator there. I could just feel it. And I think it's amazing. And I love being able to showcase that publicly, that we show up.
Yeah, and we'll play. We have no problem playing their games. Like I love the Colorado LP made a post like, okay, our chair is a woman, our vice chair is Hispanic, so you can't come at us. And then people literally didn't get it. Like they were like, oh, what did that one person say? Identity politics is so lame, and they didn't get the joke. And then you go look at their bio, and it's all identity politics like labels. It's just like, what do you like? People, it's so fun to call these people out, and they don't even know they're being called out, and then they play right into it, and that's what I love. Is just, and our messaging is great out here. Like we're doing the bold messaging, and I love it.
I can never say too much about bold messaging. I'm like going to sneeze. Because political satire is literally the most powerful weapon any one person can hold. It brings down empires, right? People historically have been executed real quick for political satire against their rulers. And so for the people to complain about, oh, your messaging is too satirical, it's too much, it's too, yeah, well, this is the power that we have. We don't have millions of dollars. Okay. We don't have control over the voting machines. Okay. Like we have no power. The only thing we have is trolling, and trolling, unfortunately, is really successful. Like it is. And if we get it right, nothing can stop us.
Yeah, that was good. I remember you brought up a bunch of stuff in your speech. Like, okay, this one cartoon way back when, it made that much of an impact. So yeah, we have to keep on it. Even just, again, just me going after news journalists for lying about stuff drove them nuts, So it's just crazy.
The power of that can never be understated, because if you are not allowed to question your rulers, you are not free. You are slaves. So that is the most important reason to express that or you make use of that power.
Yeah. And I saw people complain about the Colorado messaging ones, and they brought up New Hampshire, and it's like, well, why? Who cares? Just focus. Like, why do you care about that? Like, that's over there. Like, but it's all the online people too. Not that this person's online too much, but there's so many people who are only online, and that's their whole view of everything is just their online Facebook libertarian groups or whatever. And they have no idea. They don't show up to anything. They don't do anything. And they just are like, well, that messaging is bad. It's like, well, get involved. I don't know. Like, A-dub.
Get in on the messaging committee.
Exactly. That was that one person that came through recently, she's not going to be in the LP anymore. She's going to RFK or whatever. Like, she was like, I have all these files. And it's like, have you planned one get together? Have you I'm like, she was complaining about something got scheduled wrong. And this was in Louisiana or somewhere. And I was like, you could have gotten involved and had a say in the planning committee. Like, you can literally go. It's so easy to get involved because we need people so bad. Like, your voice is so easily heard. And oh, it's so goofy. It's so goofy. But that's right. I feel like the unimpressive people are kind of slowly dwindling. They're losing their power. Although someone yesterday, I don't know if we saw it, but he made a poll. Who is more libertarian, Polis or DeSantis? And they were like, go, Polis is so hot. It's like all that. No one even lived out here who was like, he just passed the biggest YIMBY bill, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no.
I'm pretty sure Jared Polis isn't a libertarian. Like, he may have been in the Libertarian Caucus in the federal government. People actually should probably look at that and really learn about what is the Libertarian Caucus in the federal government. Like, it is quite different than the Libertarian Party. Also, no members of the Libertarian Party are a part of that caucus. So it's kind of hard for, like, how can they call themselves that? Although, granted, one of the members that used to be a member of it did change his, political affiliation, Justin Amash, and became a libertarian. So that's good. But you can't really represent something that you're not a part of, in my opinion. And just because there's libertarian in the name, everyone just automatically assumes. And quite frankly, Jared Polis was way better as a federal. What was he? A congressman? I don't remember what he was, but his voting record was a lot better when he was in that position. As governor, he literally is the opposite. My favorite was the Twitter thread that Nick did on him, because it literally showed you he's not a libertarian at all. Like, no.
Yeah, and it showed how he was going around doing basically a PR thing. It was just PR. He was going to all the different shows. Like even Kennedy, she didn't push back on him about being small government. And it was like, and then when Amash says he was libertarian, everybody, even like I remember Angela was like, "What are you talking about?" Like,
Yeah.
To that point, just in general, you just gotta watch people when they start taking up just random ass labels, because like, yeah, you can give yourself any kind of label, but if you don't actually, you got to look at people's actions. Like anyone can call themselves a libertarian or a Republican or Democrat or whatever, but if you basically don't live the label, then it's pointless. So
you have to be about what you say you're about.
Practice what you preach. Yep.
Walk the walk. And plus, there is a big difference too, and I've noticed this with some of the like CLC caucus and stuff. But like, it's just they care more about like DC politics or like sucking that DC, the reason, all those people. Like they just really are. And like Amash, like when he called. I'm like, what do you know? You guys don't even know. And Polis too. Like Polis doesn't know local stuff in his own state. It's like they're on this DC ass kissing mission, and it has nothing to do with our state affiliates and nothing to do with what's actually going on.
And that's federally, your vote has like the minimal power, has the least amount of power. Like I'm not, so I could talk both for and against voting, right? Like that's our system. So I'm just going to speak to it as it exists, right? Not as maybe we wish it would exist or whatever. But really, if you're going to cast a vote, the most powerful vote you can cast is any local or county election, especially where I live, right? So I'm like related to 90% of the county. When you're an elected official here, everyone is either related to you or knows you, and you will run into them all the time. I have run into all the school board members repeatedly since I've started messing with that issue. So whatever decision that you make, you have to look those people in the face, right? And there's more local governments and more county government officials than there are state, and there's more state than there is federal, right? So it's like a pyramid. So the power is always on the bottom. It's always on the bottom. So I don't pay attention to anything national, whether it's national LP, maybe that makes me terrible. I don't know. I just don't have the bandwidth for it, or any sort of anything on the national scale. I really don't watch it because overall there's nothing I can do about it. I have no power there. I'm not going to run into Ken Buck. Well, I have, but only when I do Republican stuff and only when he's campaigning. But at the same time, I'm just one person out of thousands that I didn't elect him, but you know what I mean, that he serves. So he doesn't care what I say. I'm just picking Ken Buck because that's somebody I can think that's, national and my representative. But I can go bother my city council.
Exactly.
I do. So I feel like if you want to make a change and you really want your energy to count, it has to be focused locally, because how are we ever going to get national? I mean, and that's why I think the party should really, not maybe the national party, because they're the national party, they should focus on national issues, right? That's why they're there. But overall, I think the state affiliate should be focused on the county affiliate, should be focused on the local, and go from that approach.
Oh yeah, I heard Justin's in the chat with Arapahoe County. They found 5 special districts. Yeah, this is the thing. There's all these like metro boards. There's all these different random ass things you can get on, and you won't even run against anybody half the time. So
yes, and they're so powerful. Kathleen Chandler at the Independence Institute. This is for people specifically in Colorado. Kathleen Chandler can help get you on any board that you want to be on. She also teaches a class about it. I've taken her class. I don't have the opportunity to serve on as many boards here, although I do serve on boards, but they're not like, it's like the library, okay? Nobody's going to put me on the water board. My grandpa would die. Oh my God. That would be amazing, though. I do want to be on the water board in case anyone is watching and wants to know. But on the Front Range, there's so many unopposed seats, and you can learn so much, and you can fight for liberty at that level. And the ones on the Front Range pay good money a lot of times. So there's the benefit of a paycheck. I'll work for free. That's me.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't even know. I'm just want to get the message out. And like you said, with the smaller votes, that's why I'm like, okay, I can prove, like, I'm in a district in a town. So like there's 10,000 votes or whatever. Like if there's funny business, we're going to know because that's the smallest amount, right? And we can prove there is funny business or not. So I wish people would kind of focus on that sort of stuff too.
I mean, and all those keyboard warriors that got a whole lot to say about us online, well, there's a whole lot of work you could do instead of typing on the computer all day. Yeah. Or you could do both. You literally could do both if you were dedicated to shit talking. I'm all for shit talking, okay? If people want to shit talk me, that's cool. Like, I love it. That's fine. But also do something, get off the internet and do something sometimes,
Yeah, like I feel I will totally be like real and be like, yeah, I'm actually doing shit. So now I can say shit, like it's just, it gives you that, okay, when you walk the walk, you can actually like say stuff and it means something instead of just all these people are just sniping all the time. I can't handle it. Let's see if I'm missing anything in the chats real quick. Yeah, I don't know. And what else is going on up in I guess our next board meeting is next month because there wasn't one this month, right?
Correct.
Right.
So it'll be the second Monday of the month. I'm debating. So overall, I'm going to chair meetings from online. I'm considering maybe going to the first one in person, but is that the best experience for me to practice running them online? I'm not sure. So I may come down to Denver to chair that meeting in person. It's on the table. So we'll see. There's the Keensburg. When's Keensburg meeting?
Oh yeah, that's the 30th.
Okay, and then you also have yours is the day before that.
Yeah, they're all like, because Jacob's like gung ho. He's like planning stuff. He's Jacob, right? And then it was the day before that, the Keensburg thing. So I'm like, yeah, it'll be a busy weekend for anyone watching. There, I'm having me and Merle, who's running in the other district, are having a fundraiser on the 29th, and it's here in Arvada. But then on the 30th, we're gonna have a meetup in Keensburg with our mayor, who is actually one mayor. So, you can talk to him about stuff too. So.
And right now is really the time to like look at local races. A lot of municipalities will have seats up for election. I don't think I have, but the school board is up for election here. So that's something to also think about. Thinking about, we should probably, if somebody's going to run for school board or one of those local positions, they really should figure out by May if they're going to run and get working on that, because August will be here. And, before you know it, it's better to have a plan.
Yeah. I should have had I had no plan when I filed the affidavit. I was like, oh boy, here we go.
You had to get a plan real quick. Yeah. People are like, take our money.
But luckily we have like I just was showing my man Brandon Work of Free State, Colorado. he's got the 17-page plan. We're all ready to go. Like, I'm like, I love our people because everyone wants to have, like, it turned into something where it'll be fun to do and it'll be rewarding for them to do it. So I'm excited.
What do you need for your campaign still?
I don't really need much. We're still like, I still got to get stuff designed and ordered for a few things if I want to do like business cards, door hangers and stuff. But really it's just going to be this summer. I want to try to go to every door. So, but I know there's already other people who have said they'll volunteer to canvas for me and stuff too, that are like GOP and whatnot. So I don't know. Now I'm just like, I have to make my website better. That's for sure. Because I got a little more educated on the local issues that I really need to know about. Like, so I have to like get that all laid out. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to take it one day at a time. It's like, wow. Every day is something weird. It's something weird. Everything's just weird. All the stuff that's happened is weird too. I'm like, could it just been like normal? But no.
So if you get elected, what would be your game plan? Like what are you running on?
Like specific issues here. Well, my thing is I just want people to know I'm not from the right or left, and I really am here to protect my constituents from any stupid government decisions, and like protect their taxes, protect their kids, whatever, with how I can. There's a couple local issues, like the guy I'm running against, he put in this backroom deal in 2020 to try and make us use one trash service, which in some cities that works, right? But Arvada is a huge sprawling suburb. There was no reason to do it. And he like tried to they didn't want to bring it to a vote. And it was just a backroom deal for this, to give this one trash service the business, right? But then they got recalled, that's what the guy I've been talking to is part of that, that's so interesting to learn too. They tried to recall them at this time, but you can opt out, but you still have to pay a tax basically on this trash service that you don't even use. So like, I would love to tackle that to get that out of there. And if you have the HOA people still have to use it, even if they don't use it. It's stupid. There's all this stupid stuff like that I'd want to get rid of, and within my power. I don't even know my full power as a city council. Like I'm just learning everything as I go here. So.
Oh, Kathleen Chandler does local government classes for candidates.
Okay.
I'll watch my emails. Apparently the chair email gets all her emails. So I'll watch I'll look for it. So when she does the next one, I'll see if you want to attend it, because I took
to all of it. I need to learn.
Yes. And she's such a badass. Like what she's done, like she's been elected on city councils. She served at the state level. She's always like about your camera on your laptops and stuff. She's like, the laptop they give you, you keep it in the case and you shove it in the back of the closet and you don't let them record you for anything. It's like,
that's a good idea. Yeah, I saw Mary post. She had some classes recently, but I couldn't get to them. But yeah, I definitely will. And
there's other people there that you can network with that are serving or have served or are running. And so that's cool too.
Yeah, and so there's a place called the Independence Institute in Colorado, and they get no government funding, and it's all like donor based, and they basically do they're so good about legislation and just like everything government, but from a more liberty mindset, basically.
Yeah, they're like a think tank. They're a liberty think tank. I guess a lot of people may be familiar with the idea of Cato. You can either like it or hate it or whatever. But Cato is a think tank, and they advise, even on the federal level and things like that. So that's what the Independence Institute is, but smaller and geared towards Colorado. And John Caldera is in charge of that, correct? Am I right on that?
Sounds familiar.
Yes.
And they're also really cool because they let everybody use their building for stuff too, which is always just nice to have a meeting spot and whatnot.
And they're like big into the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. And that's so important. Like
that Jared Polis invented.
Yeah. He gives me back my tax dollars he stole from me. But he doesn't. Oh, wait, no, he just charges me again with the bag tax. Oh, I'm sorry. That's a fee, not a tax. But
yeah,
It's a
and the roads and the delivery fees, all that. But he's lowered our property taxes. It's like, no, it's people are so, even I don't pay attention enough. And it's like, how do some people not know this stuff? It's crazy.
I read this book on him. Well, it was not just specifically about him, but it was like about him and like the people around him and how they've got into power. The blueprint, how the Democrats won Colorado. That was so interesting. How he put all of his money. He's basically used cronyism his whole life to get around in government. And then there's the system is now basically here in Colorado geared to like facilitate that cronyism from like the parties used to control the elections and the candidates. Now the parties don't even do that. Like the parties really have no power over their candidates at all with the open primaries. And then there was a bill before that that opened up. Oh, no, that wasn't the open primaries, but there's like 3 bills that have come to pass that have basically opened up elections in Colorado. And in some ways we could consider it good, but and then other ways not good. So it depends on if you're like a party person, it's probably bad. And if you're not, then it's probably like you would think it would be okay. But when people pay to get on the ballot and they pay for votes and that's cronyism. So you shouldn't have to pay to get on a ballot. I agree. And I'm not sure how I feel about the assembly processes. I like it as a libertarian because we're in control of who we're running and that they would, represent the party. So for me, I am a party person, so I prefer a closed primary, but I can see the benefit and the value of an open primary, but not when people use cronyism behind it to inflate the cost of campaigns and like all of that. So, the blueprint, Brandon Work from Free State, Colorado, got me hooked on that book.
All right, I'll have to if he has it, I'll borrow it from him then too. There's another book too that someone suggested. It was basically all about how the left got into everything and took power of everything, and it's like that's what we need to do now. Like that's what we got to do. To play their game.
So we got to hold on to that political satire because we don't have the money to play with cronyism.
Yeah, and we don't have like moms on demand with all these people and all these activists that can show up all the time. Like, so we're just trying to grow that. They really, I mean, kudos to them, but they suck and they've ruined our lives with their beliefs. But
yes, and I think single issue coalitions are a really great way to like spread our message, but also get activists involved. Because when you work from like a single issue, right? Like we did the rally, the National did the rally at Washington, D.C., the anti-war rally, and that was a single issue coalition. So a lot of different parties were there, and there was a lot of really good exchanges and a lot of like discussion that isn't happening in our hyper politicized world. So I think in Colorado, getting behind some single issue coalitions, like right now we have the gun ban bill, right? Going through. And that's Rocky Mountain gun owners are going to have activists there. We're going to have activists there. The GOP may or may not. I haven't heard back from Dave Williams. I did try and reach out to Dave Williams, who's now the chair of the GOP, and ask him if he's going to come down with any activists. We'll see. I don't know. The Republicans don't really produce activists, in my opinion, from what I've seen over the years. And I've watched the Republican Party far longer than I have the Libertarian Party, just because of my family. So it would be cool. We had coalesced with the Colorado caucus system bill. Who all showed up to that? What were the groups?
Green Party, Unity Party, even a Democrat, us, Libertarians.
Was the women's voting?
Oh yeah, Women's League of Voters.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to be able. I was surprised that the Unity and the Green Party showed up for that, and the Women League of Voters, but they did. And so, like, isn't that cool? Maybe we can rely on them to show up for other things this legislative session as well. I don't know that they'll show up for the gun ban bill,
Yeah.
but the caucus system, that was really interesting to see them show up for that.
That was good. I need to download that whole recording because it was just good. The whole thing was great because I pointed out just the other day to one of the ladies who's super happy that they can cut off kids' genitals now. She was like saying about white fragility or something, made a post, and then I'm like, okay, when we were in that committee meeting, someone said he was on Kirkmeyer's side, but he said something like the saying, which Kyle typed it out and I've already forgotten it again, but it was, my don't what is it saying? Your fist stops at my nose or something. Basically saying you can't be violent. But she goes, oh, how could you say that? There's so much political violence going on. This lady, and like made a struggle session out of the committee hearing for 5 minutes, made this guy apologize about a saying that's not even violent. And it's just like, are you serious? These people think they're serious people. Oh yeah, you're right to swing your fist stops where my jaw begins or something like that. Yeah, it's like a non-violent thing. It's just goofy.
You can swing at dead air all you want. You're not violating rights, lady. Like, but when your fist hits on my jaw, that's where the violation happens. So
yeah, and it was just funny how that's the games they play. Like she really was like playing, and then she posts about white fragility or something. I'm like, okay, like you're just fake and dumb. So
I hate critical theory, but my favorite part of the caucus system fight that we had was literally using their theories against them. Having Alicio speak in Spanish was just like so good. I was like, yes, speak to them in the language they will hear 1,000% without watering down your message. And then having Kirsten speak to the ableism aspect, because there really was some actual things that would affect our disabled community, people who have, disabilities. And the Women League of Voters speaking from that, like speak in the language that your enemy will hear. I love to beat people at their own game by their own rules. Like I love that. It's so
and that's what we're doing, man. Like, cause even all them attacking me, I know when they watch my stuff, they're like, oh, she actually I'm not anti any, like I'm not what they think I am or anything. And so they're just figuring it out. They can't put us in boxes or anything because we'll play their games and we're like them to some extent. So yeah, I'm excited about it. It's all good.
And I think overall, I think we as Libertarian Party can connect with everyone in the political spectrum because we all see the same issues that a lot of people on the left see, and we all see a lot of the same issues the people on the right see, right? But we have our own solutions that are different, right? I think Angela McArdle made a quote about that, about basically we all see the same problem, we just have different answers to it. But our answers being that we're not violating people's rights and that we're protecting them, I think is where we have something over, the right left dichotomy. But then there's also the independent people, right? Colorado has a massive independent voter base. And that's telling me that neither the right nor the left is really speaking to those people. So what language does the independent speak is what I want to know so that we can speak to them in the language that they will hear. Because I don't care about recruiting people from the left or recruiting people from the right. I want to recruit people that have never been engaged, that are libertarians and have never been engaged, or independents who want to be politically engaged but reject the right-left dichotomy. So that's something I think eventually we're going to really work on, trying to figure out what is the language of the independent? How do we speak to them?
Right.
They're the majority.
We speak with sparklers. That's how we speak to them.
So, new idea for your city council race. We don't need a graphic designer. We're just going to put a picture of you.
Lord, I know it's coming out. I know they're going to try it, but I'll be like, whatever. You guys are all degenerates anyways. Like, you can't judge me for that.
Don't slut shame me. Isn't that what they say? Isn't that what they say? I'm sure that's what they say.
Don't kink shame. Don't slut shame.
Yeah.
All right. We're almost at an hour. Is there anything else you wanted to add in? Hex has been taking over the whole conversation as usual.
It's just I'm so far removed from Colorado.
I know.
We could talk about Ohio. I do know about Ohio.
As far as like I said, the Libertarian Party / movement out here almost doesn't exist. Like there are people, I do have friends here who are in the liberty space that I've actually met, but like there's no real organization or anything out here.
It's
That's
a
hard.
shame. It's a shame.
Yeah,
My
especially
best,
because Ohio is so like pretty based as far as like gun rights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
yeah,
And then to that point, I think that I'm of the opinion that there are some places where if you do want to get involved, you'd be better running as a Republican than a Libertarian. Just just going based off the landscape. Like I said, like out here, Libertarian Party doesn't exist, but Ohio's a red state, so if you really wanted to do something, you'd be better off running as a Republican. And there are a lot of other places that are like that, but you guys seem to be kicking a lot of ass in Colorado, and you have my full support. Keep going. Vote for Jessica Fenske for City Council of Arvada, Colorado.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Well, do you have anything you want to plug, Hannah? I know you're not really on stuff, but
So first we'll start off. If you vote, well, actually you don't have to vote, but you should consider joining the National Party, and to join and become a national member, it is a minimum of a $25 donation. And we're really looking to up our national support. The Mises Caucus took over the National Party. So it's really, really important that you join the National Party. And it's quite affordable at $25 a year. You can't beat it. Now, if you're in Colorado, we have a new structure for the party starting at the first of the year, where in order to be a full party member, you'll have to make a donation of $25. Also, if you would like to help us fight the gun ban bill, you can donate any amount you want, and you can just tag on there gun ban bill. If you're not a registered libertarian and you live in Colorado, the way to become a registered libertarian is to go to the Secretary of State's website, and you can change your party registration right there. And if you don't want to do that, that's still great, but you still want to get active and involved, you can go to LP Colorado and you can do volunteer now, and somebody will reach out to you, and you can still get plugged into the party without being a registered libertarian. We love volunteers. We don't have enough of them. So anything, blood, sweat, tears you want to put into the party and the movement, there is options. Also, I just want to plug that the Colorado Mises Caucus, the Colorado Caliphate, is the most radical, most feared, and most based of the Mises Caucus affiliates, and we run this bitch.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh, and donate to Jessica Fenske and her city council race.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Hex, you want to do your plugs?
The regulars already know. For any newcomers, if you go to Instagram, YouTube, wherever, if you type in Hexcelerate, I'll probably show up. I like to keep things simple, so that's all you got to type in. Last week, well, I guess technically the week before last, I did Adam Choi's show, People We Love. If you want to see that interview, check that out. Actual last week, I did Amit's show, Hawkett Podcast, and that just came out yesterday, I think. If you want to check that out, that's up. Tune into my YouTube channel, and soon to be Rumble as soon as I get that set up, because every Thursday at probably 6 o'clock, I'll be doing a music stream where you can watch me make music and chat.
Oh yeah. And I am Forest Mommy everywhere, and Jessica Fenske now as well. So if you want to don't feel like you want to donate, whatever, but also follow my campaign. We're gonna have fun and troll and be silly and just spread the message of that the government's the enemy. So that's all I got. I think thanks everyone for watching and all the likes and the super chats, and yeah, and thanks Hannah for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me on. I was really excited to come.
Oh, good. All right. I think we're good. Bye, everybody.